Hi guys, here's another list of tips, tricks, and secrets that you can use in the new season of Modern Warfare Zombies. In today's video, we'll be covering special ways that you can pretty much insta-kill Manglers, you can take out Disciples much more quickly, we'll be doing a trick to get 10,000 points from one contract, and we'll even be insta-killing the Stormcaller boss, which is one of the strongest enemies in the entire game, and it takes literally 1 second to do. It's crazy. So if you're excited for all that and more, then drop a like on the video and we'll get started. So we all know that one of the best ways to get money early in your game in Modern Warfare Zombies is doing contracts, right? And I'm about to share a method that's going to get you 10,000 points for one contract completion. And this is essential because if you're trying to farm rare schematics, if you're trying to farm wonder weapons, those sorts of things, and especially if you're trying to do this as a solo player, you need to spend as little time as possible in your game on that setup and money earning process so that you can spend the bulk of your match just working away at those schematics farms in order to get those done. And by the way, if you'd like me to make a dedicated video on those schematics farms, then drop me a comment and let me know. So doing contracts is great, but by just slightly tweaking the way that you finish the contract, you can totally turn around that money earning process. So as you can see in the gameplay here, I'm doing a bounty contract that's going to earn me 2k, but I'm getting the bounty down to low health and then being very careful not to take it out until one of the other zombies in the space around me drops a double points, and then I'm going to straight away take out my bounty, and the bounty reward is going to be doubled. And this works in tier 3 as well. You take out a $5,000 bounty and boom, you get 10k instead of 5, and that's a huge difference. You're getting Pack-a-Punch for free basically, just by being a little more tactical when you wrap those contracts up. Thanks to Warlock Sonster for sharing that tip. Next up, if you want to take a break from the tier 3 contracts and you actually just want to chill out in the game for a bit without zombies attacking you, you might think that you could just swim in the water or something or hide on a roof, but zombies will throw meat at you and prevent you from getting the rest that you so desperately crave. However, a bowl of cereal has suggested that there is actually a way you can avoid all the zombies in the match, and that's simply to climb to one of the top of these yellow cranes. And there are a few different types of these around the map, but if you find one, the zombies will simply never attack you up there and you'll be absolutely safe for as long as you need to be safe for. Now it's time for a bonus tip. I'm going to combine the last two tips together. We've got the tier 3 zone and we've got these safe haven crane areas. I'm about to show you how you can teleport into the tier 3 zone and hang out in tier 3 without any risk of stuff attacking you, and you can then parachute from this little safe haven I'm about to show you to like half of the tier 3 island, all in the space of like 15-20 seconds. It's great. So first of all, you're going to need to go to a portal entrance location. These can be found in a dozen areas around the map, but I'm going to show you an example just here inside this tunnel. The location for this is D1. It's in the railway tunnel, not the road tunnel. And another potential entrance is in this hotel in this grid square here, and it's in the top floor of the hotel in the room furthest along the corridor. But regardless of which door you choose to use, you're going to go up to the door itself to cause all of the runes to spawn in, and then you're going to shoot the following 3 symbols, and be careful to make sure that they light up as you do this. This is your first symbol, this is your second symbol, and this is your third symbol. And when the 3 are lit, you should then be able to run up to the door itself, hold square to spend 1,000 points, and open up a portal. And if you go through that portal, it's going to transport you to this hidden little hideaway inside tier 3 that you can use to plan your next move and parachute in to complete your next objective. The next tip is something that I honestly didn't really believe when I first heard it, because it's just a bit OP in my opinion. So when you're jumping into a game with the mindset that you want to be as fast and efficient as possible so you can like grind schematics, for example, in that match, you're probably making certain decisions to make yourself faster and make yourself more efficient. So an example of that we've talked about already in a previous tips video was spawning in with no second weapon, so you can just swap to your hands and run a lot faster without a weapon. And that's all well and good, but some people run into this issue, right, where they get to tier 3, they start doing those contracts, but just surviving in that zone is really damn tricky, especially if you're running in there without armor and things along those lines, and those dogs are yapping at your heels, and there's a super sprinter that's just always really annoying, and you're sort of torn between wanting to have a weapon in your hands so you can shoot that dog behind you, and not wanting the weapon in your hands so you can run faster to get away from the dog. Like, it's a bit of a catch-22 situation. But I actually just have a solution to that problem that means you get the best of both worlds, and it's throwing knives. You can use these bad boys to one-hit kill any base level enemy, such as a dog or a regular zombie, in tier 3, which is absolutely insane because you can then retrieve the throwing knife and you basically have infinite ammo, and you can hold multiple knives at once, and you can restock them from ammo caches. Like, this is bonkers powerful. It is so insane. Definitely give these a try the next time you're booking a flight straight to that tier 3 zone. Now, throwing knives and knives, they have a lot in common, so let's do a melee tip now, shall we? And this one comes from Byman. So obviously, when you're running around with guns in the mode, you can drop them to teammates and it's no big deal. That's totally fine. But sometimes you're spinning the box and you get a weapon that would be perfect for a teammate to grab, and it just feels like it would be easier if you could just have them take it out of the box. And it turns out you can actually do that too. You just have to spin the box to get a weapon inside it, and then while that weapon is descending back into the box, melee it, and it will become available for other players in the map to grab. Next up, we've got our method to pretty much take down Manglers instantly. This is so freaking OP, it's crazy, and it's kind of related to a trick that used to work in Cold War Zombies as well. In fact, at one point, I'm pretty sure I had the world record most damage that anyone had ever done in Cold War Zombies in one hit, and I got that using this trick. Like, it is bonkers how effective it is. So when you find a Mangler, we all know, I think, that if you attack its arm and you blow that up, then it makes the Mangler a lot weaker. Like, they're very susceptible to taking damage on that rocket arm. But what many people don't know, but you now do, is that if you melee that arm, especially if you're using something like a karambit or a tonfa or some other melee weapon, it will take out the Mangler in 1 or 2 hits usually. And here's a couple clips of me doing it. I mean, it's just so outrageously OP. Our next tip comes from CaliBlue25, and it's an easier way to get a friendly Hellhound from one of the dog houses. So in previous tips videos, we've talked about exactly how you get those Hellhounds from the dog houses, and we've also discussed various ideas about ways to make those dogs more powerful and things like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, links to those other tip videos are in the description. But what Cali has shared is that you can more consistently get those chunks of flesh, not just from explosive kills, but from simply upgrading your weapon in tier 1 to being blue rarity or anything higher, and really focusing on getting one-hit kills. So just really making sure that you're aiming for the head, and getting those one-hit kills is going to drastically increase your chunk of flesh drop rate. Now, speaking of aiming for the head and getting one-hit kills, I think while we're on the topic, we might as well talk about how to get Deadshot Daiquiri for free. For this, you need to come to the I3 grid square and look for this church, and you're also going to want to bring along Semtexes. What you need to do is run over to the tomb that I am pinging on the map here. It's just in front of where the church is, and it really sort of stands out, so it shouldn't be too hard to spot. And then get on top of it, stand on it, and line yourself up in the exact way that I'm doing in the clip here. So I'm going to kind of nudge myself over until I'm on the very corner, and then I'm going to aim and throw my Semtex when my crosshair is lined up with this part of the church roof. By doing this, I should be able to throw the Semtex directly through that little window up there. It won't get stuck on the outsides, it'll just go through. And if done successfully, and if you're the first person to do this in the game, you'll be rewarded with a free Deadshot. Now, a pro tip for this, little bonus tip for you here, is that the nearby ammo cache is going to give you Semtexes back if you need them, like if you mess up somehow. So if you need to get a second attempt in, just run over to the cache, grab your ammo, run back, and try again. Now, I mentioned at the start of the video, we talk about that way to instantly kill Stormcaller, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, we should probably talk about how to take down those base level disciples really easily. And this one's kind of a 2-part tip. So number 1 is just that those disciples will heal themselves if you allow them to maintain line of sight with you. So I recommend fighting them when there's some kind of object between you and them that you can kind of dip in and dip out of to break line of sight and prevent them from doing their healing suck beam. And the second half of the tip is that they are actually significantly weaker if you blow up their mask. You can knock their mask fully off their heads, and you'll hear a little sound cue when that happens, and that'll make them infinitely more susceptible to damage, and you'll be able to take them down super easily from there. Now, another tip, which can be really useful for disciples or just in any scenario, to be honest, is that there's actually like a bargain bin monkey bomb in the game that I sort of low-key prefer to monkeys, because I think it's sort of more effective and much more reliable, because you can find these all over the game world. So as you progress through your levels and you unlock different equipment, you're going to get to the point where you unlock decoy grenades. And I swear you you just have to try them to see how amazing they are. You can carry like 3 of them at a time. You resupply them from ammo caches, and they last the same amount of time as monkey bombs. They just don't explode at the end. And they're everywhere, and they're so easy to restock. And so instead of having to scrape by trying to find individual monkeys here and there really rarely, just use decoys instead. I promise you, they are an absolutely amazing addition to your arsenal. And when you try them and they save your ass, you'd better come back here and drop a like on the video. Or you could just do that now. Next up, have you ever wanted to just freeze zombies? Like right in front of you, you just want the zombie to just stagger and stop moving and look like it's super confused. Like, I don't know, maybe your dream in life is just to bamboozle every zombie in the server. And if that is what you aspire to, I've got you covered. And it's all thanks to the humble crash barrier. So these little metal barriers are called crash barriers. And if you mantle over these crash barriers while zombies are nearby, look what they do. I promised bamboozling, and bamboozling is what you got. The zombies have no clue how to path around the crash barriers. And so some of them just stop in their tracks and very slowly turn around. Others start running the polar opposite direction to try and get around the barrier. Like, it's total chaos. But the one kind of consistent thing throughout all of it is that you are absolutely safe while it's happening. It's insanely effective, and all it takes is a little mantling. Easy peasy. And that brings us to our final juicy tip, which is insta-killing Stormcaller. I'm really excited to debut this one for you guys, and I really hope that Treyarch don't patch this once I show this tip to you, because honestly, I think that this is a bit OP. Now, just before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I'd love to welcome you in with open arms. I post a bunch of zombies tips, tricks, tutorials, Easter egg guides, news, all sorts of stuff on the channel. And if you're a zombies fan, I know you're gonna love it. So hit that sub button. Let's get into the tip. So I've talked to you guys about the ether bike before, right? And we've already covered some of its really powerful uses in previous episodes in this series. Now, I don't want you to make the mistake of thinking that this tip is just to run over Stormcaller with the ether bike, because yes, that works on regular zombies, but the Stormcaller is kind of ethereal. Like, it kind of just phases out of the way if you try to hit it with the bike. And so just running over it alone is not going to be enough to take the Stormcaller down. Instead, you're going to want to run over enough zombies that you get its pulse blast charged up, and then that pulse will insta-kill the Stormcaller. This works on any disciple in the map, and you can get infinite pulses just by taking out more zombies. Now, if that's not enough for you and you want even more tips like this, click the link on screen right now. I'll see you there.